It's a great pleasure being here with you, and I'm very, very sorry not being able to join you in Kuala Lumpur. I was really waiting to join you in this wonderful city, but unfortunately an accident last summer led me in Spain. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank Professor Jean-Pierre Poulin, who is the organizer of this meeting, one of the organizers, which I really appreciate his kind invitation. Well, today I just want to make a short introduction on the candidature of the Mediterranean diet as an intangible human heritage of UNESCO, and that, as you know, it was achieved in 2010 in Nairobi. So it was a great effort of more than 6 years of the Mediterranean Diet Foundation and a group of experts from different countries that take part of this candidature. As you know, the Mediterranean diet comes from the Greek word dieter, which doesn't mean necessarily diet, but lifestyle. So it includes both food habits, but also other lifestyles related to physical activity, social practice, and so on. So this is very important because this concept of Mediterranean diet will have a concept more important than the food itself, because it will take in consideration the traditions which range from the landscape to the cuisine, the crops, the harvesting, the fishing, conservation, processing, preparation, and also consumption of foods. And one important thing on the Mediterranean diet, the Mediterranean culture, is that we do not sit at the table to eat, but to eat together. And that was said by Plutarch many, many years ago. So the sitting around the table is a very important part of this diet, which obviously includes sociability, but also family relationships as a key point around the table. It's a very diverse dietary pattern based primarily on fresh fruit, local and seasonal food. So that means it's respecting the environment, respecting the seasons, respecting the lands, and respecting the landscapes. Obviously, this is always favored by a welcoming climate, which makes the main foods very affordable. And this is obviously a problem to talk about Mediterranean countries, Mediterranean diet in other countries, because our intention is not to globalize the Mediterranean diet itself, but to keep the Mediterranean diet in its own territory. The dietary pattern is based on abundant consumption of plant foods, vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts and grains, olive oil, the main source of fat and dressing, a major consumption of fruits or dessert, and also consumption of wine during meals, a low consumption of animal products, which is quite similar to the Asian diet, with a moderate consumption of poultry and dairy products, and also a frequent consumption of fish, particularly in those areas around the Mediterranean. So important, it's not just a dietary pattern that combines ingredients from local agricultural recipes, but it's more than that. It's a heritage. It's an important cultural component of the Mediterranean people. The Mediterranean diet is understood not only as a set of food items, but also as a cultural model. And what it happens in the last decades is that we have observed reducing important changes in this model, which in fact have attending the major concern of the Mediterranean diet, so, which is the health. Health is an important aspect of the Mediterranean diet, and certain sociocultural change and eating practices have a major impact on public health, on obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and this is an important concern also. On the other hand, we know that increasing the vegetables produced locally and reducing animal fat consumption, among others, will make an important contribution to the politics of climate change mitigation, because, as we know, at least 20% of the climate change is related to food habits. So the use of meat, the transportation of foods around the world, the use of land, the use of water as a main resources, all this has an important impact on the politics of climate change. So Mediterranean diet is preserving also this problem, as we conducted a study in Spain, and we compare 4 parameters: the surface use for agricultural purposes, the energy consumption, the water consumption, and the emission of gas with winter effect. So when we compare the Spanish diet right now with the Mediterranean diet, we have observed a decrease about 40% of the use of the surface for agriculture. We have observed something like a 20% of energy consumption reduction. We have observed half consumption of water for the use of agriculture and for animals, and more than half of reduction of emissions of gas to the atmosphere. So this is a very important impact of moving from the current diet in Spain, which is not exactly Mediterranean, have some traits, but it's not Mediterranean, to the traditional Mediterranean diet. It's obvious that all these landscapes, techniques, markets, elaborations, space, the culinary, the flavors, the colors, all this concentrated into the kitchen, on the plate, on the table, and especially around the table, is the traditional Mediterranean diet. As this is the thing that we want to preserve, the one to make the survival of this pattern, particularly in children, because the children are the future of all. But for that reason, we start the process of recognition of the Mediterranean diet as an intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO. And the process started in 2004, which my recommendation to go into that direction, that was approved in Rome at the CISCAM meeting. And the project was approved by the Board of Trustees of the Foundation, and then by the Ministry of Agriculture, and then by the Government of Catalonia and the City of Barcelona. And we set an international committee experts composed by anthropologists like Xavier Medina, nutritionists and experts in other areas, to set the document and to prepare the candidature to be presented in Paris at UNESCO. Well, it was a great task. As you know, I'm not going to give you the details about the convention of the UNESCO for the Intangible Cultural Heritage, which is it was only approved 10 years ago, something like that, in October 2003. And the Intangible Cultural Heritage, the importance is transmitted from generation to generation, constantly recreated by communities and groups in response to their environment, their interaction with nature, and their history, and provides them with a sense of identity and continuity, thus promoting respect for cultural diversity and human creativity. When we read these lines, we really were thinking about Mediterranean diet, because Mediterranean diet was strictly identified with these words. So after the preparation, which was prepared by 4 countries, Spain, Italy, Morocco and Greece, finally the candidacy was approved on November 16 in Nairobi, Kenya, and now it's included in the list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. So if you look at the UNESCO website, you will see exactly this nomination on the website, which is showing in one of the slides. So it was really a working together, Spain, Greece, Italy and Morocco, and now there are other countries which are working together in this important candidacy. Well, as I told you, the process was from Barcelona to Rome, then we back to Barcelona. We discussed with different organizations, FAO and other organizations, and we start to define the concepts. And one of the most imminent answers or consequences of this nomination was the updating of the pyramid, what we called the dietary guidelines for the Mediterranean diet. And this updating was made by scientific evidence, by consensus, international consensus, analyzing hundreds of articles and also working together more than 200 people. But the most important thing is that to reflect the nomination of the Mediterranean diet by UNESCO as Intangible Cultural Heritage, we should be able to include these terms in our definition. So we start to redefine the pyramid, to take into account this socializing, lifestyles, relaxation, socioeconomic considerations, and we have meetings in Parma, in Barcelona, trying to get the final consensus. And then the design also was important to use symbols that were identified by each country. And so the most important is this, the core, which was these foods, but also this conviviality, the seasonality, biodiversity, traditional foods, locally produced, respectful for the environment, culinary activities. All this together was in the middle of the guidelines, not only just a set of food groups. And this is the last edition, which was supported by many institutions around the world. In fact, it was a combination of the nutritional science and the medical science with the anthropologist and the social science, and this is very important because I think that we should work together, anthropologists and nutritionists, because otherwise the impact of our recommendation will never get the population. You can get this pyramid in different languages, from Arabic to Italian, Catalan, Basque and French, and you can download from this webpage, the webpage of the foundation, or the webpage of Cambridge Press, the Journal of Public Health Nutrition. So it has been really a great pleasure being with you in this short session. I really would like to be there to discuss more in detail all these aspects of the Mediterranean diet and the heritage. And I wish you a very pleasant stay in Kuala Lumpur, and I wish I was there. I hope I will join you somewhere sometimes in the near future. Thank you very much.